pretty heated at the Palmer v Premier Defo trial.
Mark McGowan's taken the stand in his never-ending defamation case with Clive Palmer. Closing submissions now not expected until April. McGowan arrived at court with his legal guy, who clearly got the memo about what to wear. The Premier was grilled by Palmer's lawyer, Peter Gray, who kept niggling him and niggling him. Gray started the day by saying McGowan's decision to use taxpayer funds to pay for his defence was dishonourable. "No, I don't agree," says McGowan, probably through gritted teeth. Then Gray hammers him about whether Andy Robertson's health advice really did say the hard border was needed. "Every time you made such a public statement that the hard border was necessary because of the medical advice you had, they were knowingly false," Gray says. "No," says McGowan in reply. "Every time you said it, and you said it many times, you were lying, weren't you?" Gray says. "No," says McGowan. And when the Premier said he called Palmer the biggest loser and a jerk to get him to rethink his decision to sue WA for $30 billion, Gray says, "You must be joking. It's ridiculous for you to say that, truly ridiculous."
Tried and tested courtroom tactic.
You make the witness snap and tell the truth.
Did you order the code red?
We know what movie Peter Gray was watching as part of his prep.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
McGowan would have seen this coming a mile off.
You're goddamn right I did!
Because before he was a politician, he was, wait for it, a Navy lawyer. Palmer's legal team was focusing on the legality of WA's hard border because it prevented Clive from coming here to spruik the now discredited COVID treatment known as hydroxychloroquine.
Curse you, magic beans!
McGowan was adamant that WA's hard border was necessary, saying, "I'm in the thick of it because I'm trying to defend the state."
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
And he told the judge that Clive had been stirring up anti-vaxxers and encouraging people to, quote, let loose the darker angels of their nature.
I am evil Homer. I am evil Homer.
The Premier then detailed the nature of the abuse he had copped. "They do crazy things like threaten to kill me and my family, threaten to kill my children, ram their cars into power poles outside my house, and, you might think I'm joking about this, drive armoured cars to my office with fake machine guns on the top."
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing stuff.
McGowan's probably looking forward to a bit of peace and quiet, which he'll soon get because even though he doesn't need to, he's going to quarantine in a hotel when he comes back to WA.
I'm going on a little vacay.
That plan has hit a snag because he needs to zoom in for a national cabinet meeting during the quarantine period, and he can't do that from his hotel. So he was going to have to leave the hotel to go to the government building called Juma House. The Premier said last month that if I can't zoom into that, I'll come out of quarantine with the appropriate PPE. So he was going to address the Prime Minister and fellow premiers looking like the scientists when ET got sick. Over the weekend, the Premier's office said the Premier will travel in full PPE to Juma House because that's how much Mark McGowan cares about our health. But when the government realised how patently ridiculous that was, they backtracked and said he would just wear a mask, like a normal person.
You like the Foo Fighters?
Everyone likes the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl and his band are here in November. Hopefully by then we'll have learnt to live with COVID.
Well, I think we're doing that right now.
Yeah, we're clearly over it. McGowan was banging on about this month being our
toughest challenge we have faced
and how it's critical that we all go out and get tested. And this was the scene at testing clinics on Monday.
You know what, it's going to be quiet at Garden Island.
The new nuclear submarines are going to be based on the East Coast, not here in the West. And West Australians are pissed off about that, taking it as a snub. The decision to base the AUKUS subs on the eastern seaboard, likely at Port Kembla, comes a few months after Canberra decided it would build the next generation boats in South Australia, not at the Henderson Marine Complex south of Perth.
Are you miffed?
Upset that a bunch of nuclear-powered vessels that Australian Navy commanders have never sailed before, which are prime first strike targets, aren't going to be on our doorstep?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. If things kick off with Russia or China or North Korea or Syria or whoever, what's going to be the first thing they nuke in this country? Australia's nuclear submarine base. I know this because Matthew Broderick showed me in 1983.
You pulled out your old VHS tapes again, haven't you?
That explosion right there, that's Stirling Naval Base at Garden Island. It's the only thing in WA worth sending a $50 million nuclear missile to. They might think about Campbell Barracks in Swanbourne to get rid of the Special Air Service, but to be honest, by the time thermonuclear war's declared, there's not much the SAS can do about it.
No, I'm leaving.
We have enough nuclear subs coming and going from Garden Island without having the entire fleet base there the whole time. The Royal Navy sent one of their Astute-class subs to Perth in October. Very quiet visit. But the Greens found out about it and started asking some questions. Apparently WA has something called the Hazmat Annex A Radiation Escape from a Nuclear-Powered Warship State Hazard Plan.
Catchy title.
It's the what the f*** do we do if Garden Island starts glowing because of a radiation leak plan.
So what does happen if there's a nuclear meltdown on a sub?
We tow it out to sea.
That's your plan?
And not even that far out to sea. Our Hazmat Annex A Radiation Escape from a Nuclear-Powered Warship State Hazard Plan says we need to tow it 3 nautical miles away. That's barely 1/4 of the distance to Rottnest. So no, I'm pretty relaxed about Australia's nuclear fleet being 4,000 kilometres away.
Well, they better hurry up with the subs because the drums of war are beating.
Vladimir Putin's finger might not be right on the button at the moment, but it's not far off. He's warned that the no-fly zone would have colossal and catastrophic consequences not only for Europe, but also the whole world. And he said this while surrounded by smiling Aeroflot flight attendants. To Russia's east, Xi Jinping is boosting military spending by 7.1% to $311 billion, which is why Chinese military parades take so long. In comparison, Australia's last federal budget awarded a total of $44.6 billion to defence. Australia's richest person reckons that's not enough. Gina Reinhardt says grossly inadequate defence spending, not only during this government but successive Australian governments, providing our large country with few military aircraft and our many thousands of kilometres of coastlines with few military ships and submarines. She's a saleswoman, because a military build-up needs a dickload of...
Or surging iron ore prices.
We talked about this exact thing a week ago. Here's an ugly truth about the Australian economy. War works for us.
Apparently people are finally taking up late seriously.
We are being recognised as the serious political scientists that we are. Having to play Biff to Vladimir Zelensky's George McFly and McGowan cockblocks him, bullshit, needs a dickload of... One of Australia's most respected financial commentators, AMP Chief Economist Shane Oliver, has backed the business of war. Shane reckons increased Chinese defence spending means more demand for metals-intensive defence equipment. He says it's all positive for commodity demand, which will boost Australia's national income, which we need because we've got to build more warships, tanks and submarines, because the Chinese are using the iron ore we sell them to build more warships, tanks and submarines. You know all those conspiracies about the industrial military complex? Not so far-fetched.
So it's real.
Our foreign policy is based on selling base metals to Beijing and hoping like hell it doesn't come back in the form of cruise missiles.
Fingers crossed.
I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.